Hey guys, Brad Gilmore here. Want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, Walker Texas Lawyer. If you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, whether that be a car, truck, motorcycle accident, or some kind of other issue, hit up Walker Texas Lawyer at 713-552-1117 or walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Jessica Alba and Lizzie Mathis. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Kevin Costner joins us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad, and good morning to you. How are you?
George Lopez joins us right now. George, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What lovely to talk to me, funny lad.
Megan Trainor.
Thank you so much, Brad. You're awesome.
Chloe Bailey joins us. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you.
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
Brad Gilmore! And I am so excited to be talking to this man right now about his new film, Roswell Delirium, is streaming now on Prime Video and Apple TV. The one and only Anthony Michael Hall joins us. Anthony, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Brad. Good to be with you, man. Thank you.
Look, congratulations on the movie. Now, look, when I see the title, already I'm all the way in. Like, I want to watch this movie. It speaks to the subject matter that I find myself most interested in when I'm diving down a YouTube rabbit hole. But for people who might not be aware, what is this film about?
Right, with the Roswell connection. Well, it's actually an interesting thing. It's a film that has elements of sci-fi, and it ultimately is a family drama about a mother and a daughter. But, it's set in the present day, and it kind of flashes back to the 80s. It's a little hard to describe, but it's a really compelling, really interesting story about a young girl and the relationship with her mother. And the fact is that she was affected by some fallout during the 80s, and what you try to learn in the story is basically like, did she misremember this, or is this something that in fact happened to her? Was she exposed to radiation? Was she exposed to the aliens? It's really an interesting kind of sci-fi drama that's wrapped in a little bit of a mystery. And we have a really fantastic cast that joined me in this. This is a film that I co-produced with my company, Manhattan Films, and the writer-director at his company, which is a gentleman named Rick Bakewell, and his company, Light Force Pictures. And we got a really fantastic cast in this, Brad. We have Dee Wallace, who was in E.T., and many other films, and she's fantastic in it. We have Reginald VelJohnson, we have Sam Jones, and primarily we have a really fantastic young group of child actors that are in the film that make up the body of our cast, and so it's really a film that I'm very proud of. It was a labor of love. We shot in LA. We wrapped it about 2 years ago, and now we have partners, and we're releasing it. And as you said, it's available on iTunes, on Apple, as well as Amazon, which is a great company as well. So, yeah, really proud of the film, and I hope people check it out.
No, we want everyone to check this one out. Again, Roswell Delirium, available on Prime Video, Apple TV. Now, I know you produced this film, as you just said, through your company, Manhattan Films. What do you look for when you're trying to produce? Because I think producer has always been this vague term to the layman of like, what does a producer do? I'm not sure what they do. But when you have to produce a film through your company, there's a lot of sweat equity that goes into that. And you have to really be married to a project for a long time. What was it about this film, and what do you typically look for something from Manhattan Films?
Right. No, that's a great question. I think you're looking for good quality, and, they're calling it content these days, but when we were growing up, obviously it was, film, TV, whatever the outlet is, but you're looking for something that has a compelling story, and you really want to just seek to tell the story. In this case, it's, as I said, it's a bit of a family drama that deals with the relationship between a mother and her daughter. And a lot of the stuff that's gone on in the film is really interesting. A lot of it seems to happen sort of in the girl's head. I play this doctor who's helping kind of regress this girl to kind of get her back to a normal state because she's been affected by all these things. And ultimately what you realize is that it's, it is kind of a real look at the mother-daughter relationship, and it's a family drama despite having these kind of sci-fi elements. But I think you're always looking for good scripts, good content, good quality story. And I think it's important, whether it's comedy or drama, that there's good conflict, so that's something that the audiences kind of look for, as well. And I think with this, we've delivered, it's a really interesting film, very well written, and some really good performances. So I'm very proud of it.
Well, I feel like if anybody out there scrolls through Anthony Michael Hall's IMDb credits, you're going to be amazed, because I feel like you have such a great pulse, or your finger on the pulse for great scripts or great projects in general. And I can only imagine that helps you as a producer, having gone through all of this as an actor. So what do you look for again? Is it the same kind of qualifications? Because dude, you've been into everything that's been culturally impactful over the last 40 years. It's kind of an incredible run that I think they're going to study one day and do a whole Anthony Michael Hall class at some college somewhere to figure out how you were able to pick all these great projects.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, the life of an actor is challenging, Brad, because, it's not so much that you're selecting these things. Sometimes they find you, right. and I've just been chipping away at it, as my father taught me many years ago, all through these decades. I'm 57 now, and I've had, this is my 49th year in the business, because I started out as a kid. I was 8 years old. So I've been very fortunate over the years. I just thank God for the opportunities. And to me, the success is enduring all this and having had a long career and really chipping away at it. So in terms of what you're looking for, it's always about the quality of the people and the team, that you're working with. So obviously you want to have a good writer-director, and you look at the pedigree of people that you're working with. So, I've been very fortunate, whether it's in comedy or doing SNL as a kid all those years ago, or, in more recent years, being a part of a lot of great hit shows. The industry is always changing and developing, so you kind of have to just adapt and flow and go with it, So I've been very fortunate all these years, and just to keep at it and to be a part of some great projects.
But also to have a relevant, impactful project that you're working on, seemingly in every decade, is really difficult to do. Whether you, like you said, you went through SNL, the John Hughes run that you did, even later roles. Like one of my favorite ones, I remember one of my favorite shows is Psych of all time. I just love that show. And you pop up there, I think it was the last season of Psych, for a few episodes as Trout, I think your character's name was. And it was just lovely. It was just a lovely experience for me as a fan. And that seemed like a fun show to work on too.
That's cool. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, that really was. That was a really good comedy. I had a lot of fun on that. That one stands out. There was also a show I did called Community, which used to be on NBC. Chevy was involved in that, but Joel McHale in that cast. So, yeah, Psych stood out to me. That was a lot of fun to shoot with. It's really funny, too, because that was the only show I ever did where when I got to set, they actually had a teleprompter. It was almost like a news station. They had a teleprompter there for the actors. I'm like, wow, this is great. Now I'm getting older. If I forget a line, it's right there.
I have not heard that before. That's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah. I also think it's just the quality of the writing. It was very fast paced, and there was a lot of dialogue. So that was, it was a fun show to be a part of. So I'm glad you liked it.
Again, we're talking to Anthony Michael Hall, Roswell Delirium, streaming on Prime Video and Apple TV. I have to ask you one thing before I get you out of here, because again, I could talk to you all day. If I just went through your IMDb, we could do an 8-hour audiobook on your career easily. But I want to ask you about, I saw you on the Rich Eisen show recently, and you just talked about an experience you had with Jack Nicholson. And I'm obsessed with Jack Nicholson. Other than Roswell and Area 51, this is my second YouTube rabbit hole that I go down, is just listening to Jack Nicholson talk and stories about him. And I'm not asking you to repeat the story, but however, does he have that aura about him, or is he just a guy when you meet Jack Nicholson? Because I don't think I would know what to do if Jack was in my presence. So how is he when you're around him? Does he have an aura about him?
Yeah, I felt very much the way you just described it, Brad, when I was a kid meeting him all those years ago. And then I ran into him again at SNL, the SNL 50th celebration in February. That was an amazing experience. But, to answer your question, Brad, I think it's both. I think he's a regular guy, and he's a really relatable person. And at the same time, he's kind of larger than life. He was always one of my favorites, if not my favorite actor growing up. Because, the thing that Jack had, it was always that kind of twinkle in the eye. There was always a sense of larceny. There was always, even when he's playing bad guys, he would find the humor in them. And he was just such a great actor and did so many great projects. So I'm with you, man. I've always been a huge Jack Nicholson fan all my career. And I still am. It was really a privilege to kind of run into him at the SNL thing. He was there with his daughter, and I went up and paid my respects. And just a legend. He really was great. But the humor, I think, is what cuts through with Jack. Whether it's a drama or a comedy, he's always got this kind of, great comedy edge to him, which makes him stand apart, I think.
Yeah, especially if you watch even movies in his later run, like even The Departed. If you watch his portrayal of that character in The Departed, it actually is very funny, but it's very scary at the same time. It's why he's so good. But Anthony, I really go ahead.
And I think that's one thing I learned from him. When you're playing the villains, you want to inject some humor into it, even if you're playing a bad guy. So, that's like, when I shot like Reacher last year, he's always sort of in the back of my head, Jack, because even when you're playing a heavy character like I was playing on that show, where I'm playing a guy who's an arms dealer and he's he's rough around the edges and he's a tough bad guy, you still want to find some light and some humor in it. So I've learned a lot from Jack in my career. And like yourself, he's one of my favorites. He's really one of the greats.
One of the all-time greats on the Mount Rushmore. Roswell Delirium, streaming now on Prime Video and Apple TV. Anthony Michael Hall, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Would love to talk to you again down the road.
It'd be my pleasure, man. Thanks a lot, Brett. I appreciate your interest, man. Thanks a lot.